What you talking indeed, Mr. Kim? What you talking indeed? Party people in the place to be. What's going on? It's me. I just got finished with the last of the episodes of Kim's Convenience that just dropped recently on Netflix, and that was arguably, I'm trying to think back to more recent series finales that I've gotten to. I can't, that has to be one of the most unsatisfying that I've ever seen. And it's such a turn because I like the rest of the show. I really like the rest of the show. And I don't know, first off, there will be spoilers. We're going to talk about season talk, but we're primarily going to talk about the finale, most importantly. That's the big thing because I like the rest of the show. I don't know how I got into this. I don't know how I started watching it. It was on the thing. I don't know if Netflix suggested it or if I was scrolling and found it and was like, fine, whatever is this? 13 episodes. I don't know how. But I got into it. I started watching. I was like, oh, this is cool, cute little show. I kind of dig it, and it makes me feel happy after watching it. I'm like, oh, this is like this is really good, feel good, kind of cozy little sitcom from our friends up north of the border. Friends up north of the border, they do pretty good things a significant portion of the time. They've given us some good comedic names. They've given us some of the greatest professional wrestlers in the world. We owe them for the rapper, but they're pretty good with everything else. And so this comes up, and sitcoms too. One of the first Canadian sitcoms I remember watching. Actually, there were a couple Canadian sitcoms that I remember watching, thanks to PBS at the time. The first was The Red Green Show, which I caught it, and then my then middle school girlfriend hit me further to it, and I really started watching it. But then there was also this little show called I think it was called The Newsroom. Not Newsroom, it was called The Newsroom before the Aaron Sorkin Newsroom. So this was the Newsroom before the Newsroom, and this was a sitcom. And I'm repeating myself, but I liked these shows, and so maybe that's why I was like, this is a little Canadian show. Check this out. They do pretty good work up there, and I like this show. So when I opened Netflix and I found out that they had dropped the episodes, I heard they were producing it last year, and they dropped the episodes. I was like, yes, okay, I'm pretty sure I'm going to binge watch these, and then I remembered, I was like, oh, this is the last season, isn't it? Oh, crap. Okay, I'm going to enjoy this anyway. Everything's going to be working out. We get to the start of the season. We find out Ama has MS. Oh my goodness, they are hitting close to home. They're not close to home from personally, but they are starting off, super strong here on this season. This is, how's the family going to deal with this? Turns out just fine. The Kim family, like everything else, is coming out just fine. They're dealing with it. They're weeding their way through talks of care and weed and how family can deal with this and emotional issues with it, and everybody's dealing with it just fine. And somewhere midway in the season, it's like a real family. It's a thing they're living with, but they're living with it and they're living through it and they're living past it. They're continuing with their lives stronger than ever, stronger family than ever. The friendship dynamics are working out. Everybody's doing their thing. It's a good old fashioned Kim's Convenience season. Gosh darn, don't you know? Well, that's more like Wisconsin, right? But I could do this whole thing in a Bret Hart accent, but that would be murder on my throat. Anyway, as we're getting to the end, as we're cruising to the end. I noticed, and I picked up on these little subtleties that they kind of were dropping, but I was like, I thought at first it was a coincidence. Because what we have is an episode where Jung, and I'm not gonna oh, this is, if you're watching this, you know who these people are. Jong and Shannon mostly is planning this party at her apartment for the crew at Handy. And Jong is supposed to go and grab this something. He didn't defrost the fish. Something at a stall. So they go over to Kim Chi's place. So Jong is supposed to go over, grab the ice, and grab the people and bring them back to Shannon's place. Instead, he gets there and he starts playing a board game with them. And I'm like, you dummy. You idiot. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're supposed to bring them back. How do you get caught up in the game? How do you get caught up in the game? I thought it was going to be like a cool little breezy whatever, he's trying to get them, yada yada, but they're doing that, but they end up at the party and then something happens at the party, some little joke or whatever, and we cruise on. Like they do on this show. It wraps up pretty tidily and nicely, for the most part. It's self-contained little episodes. I'm like, and even the scenes, it's like, no, you're not. There's not really anybody trying to maliciously hurt somebody. You know what I'm saying? That's why the MS thing hit me. It's like, oh, that's a pretty big stake that we've got going on here. That's a pretty deep issue that's going to obviously be a continuous thing here. I wasn't expecting this to be a continuous thing. But then he stays at the party. I'm like, you dummy, what are you doing? You have arguably the world's most adorkable girlfriend. You know what you have to do. You could justify being a little late. You could have checked out the food and said, I'm not going to want to eat this, and justify being 10 minutes late because you went to stop and grab a burger or something. But how do you justify sitting to play a board game? I thought maybe he would come back without them and have to try to explain that they yada yada yada, but he stayed. And she went and found them. I'm like, that's a relationship ending thing. Because it wasn't an accident. He stayed there. But the show wraps up. She gives him a little guilt. She even flirts with him near the end of the episode. I'm thinking, oh, okay, that was weird that it worked out, but fine. He skated with that one. I don't know how, but the writers wrote. The very next episode. Jong screws up again. I'm like, what is wrong with this guy? Why is he making these dumb moves? Like these patently stupid moves. Oh my gosh, like this isn't like sitcom, like 80s sitcom dumb moves like, I forgot the anniversary. Like this is like, oh, and it actually hurt Shannon's feelings. Like it was, by the way, and I was kind of with them a little bit. The girlfriend she's asking too many questions during the thing. She won't just watch the thing. This is a common trope. This is fairly real. Although not necessarily, but I have experienced it, but I've also been with girls that haven't done this. So I know it's real. It's not ubiquitous, but it is real. And I was like, okay, so this will be a cute little whatever. But then, the third act, she finds out about it, yada, yada. But she's like legitimately hurt. Like you see the look on her face, like she's legitimately betrayed by Jong that he would be so callous like this. I'm like, oh my God. No, what are they doing? Oh man. But he skates again. And I think to myself as I'm watching this, I'm like, that's 2 episodes in a row where Jong is kind of being a jerk to Shannon. Huh. I don't think anything of it. I'm like, that's, wow, 2 in a row for Jong? Ooh. And I'm sure this is on Canadian BBC, whatever they have over there, Canadian broadcasting channel, right? Canadian Fox. What's a Canadian Fox? Moose? Moose. But we're streaming it here. They know we're streaming it. I've seen the discourse on Twitter. They know that we binge this stuff. So they wrote that knowing that there'd be, stupid hosers from America like me who are sitting there watching it like, that's 2 in a row, Jong. But we skate on. We come back around to the reality show they wanted to be on. Okay. They're sitting there. The producer says something. It'd be great if you got engaged. And then there's the confusion there. And I'm like, oh, wow. They're going to jump ahead a little bit and engage these guys. Okay, I suppose they're wrapping up the show. Like, in real life, I'd rather, them kind of be together for a little while longer. But all right, fine. I guess they're deciding for the super happily ever after, and the show ends with them being engaged. At this point, as I'm binging this, I'm like, how's everybody going to wrap up? I'm like, okay, so we're getting close here. This is like episode maybe 9 or 10 in a 13 episode season. So I'm like, okay, they're wrapping stuff up. So let's see where there's kind of careening, where they're having people go in this kind of wrap up thing. And little confusion at the end, yada, 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 just to be on camera. And this confusion with Jong talking about how fake it is, because reality shows are fake. I don't know if you know this. Reality shows are fake and overproduced. And you start to see the tropes. I've been binging Hell's Kitchen, and I binge and then I stop because the tropes are too obvious and the editing sucks so bad. But then I always come back to it like an abused spouse. Anyway, being yelled at because the chicken is raw, you donkey. But I'm like, okay, they're wrapping this up, and there's gonna be confusion about the engagement. But it's like, okay, yada yada yada, but they'll end up engaged. Right? We're wrapping this up. We've spent years dancing around the will they, won't they, missed opportunities and yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. And they finally got together and they start the season together, and fantastic. This is the ship we've all shipped. Good job. Let's go. Let's end on a happy note, right? So at the end of that episode, that confusion, Shannon gets a little look in her eye of disappointment, and I'm like, oh no. And I literally shout out loud, no, don't do this. I say, don't do this, because I'm thinking, this must be like episode 11, because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh no, there's only like 2 episodes left. I know they're not gonna do this, because I've seen it many other times with other shows that typically take on a more serious tone. Shows, this isn't necessarily how they ended it, but they have a tone like a Scrubs. And maybe it's a season finale, right? So you see this and how it wraps up and the timing of where it is in the season, and they wrap it up so that JD and Elliot can't get together again because they're too stupid, something on a season finale, right? And if it's a different kind of show, a more serious show like that, like in the vein of a Scrubs, maybe it will be the series finale, because that's the whole point, that not everybody gets together, not everybody's happy at the end, yada, 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 blah, 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 right? If it's a Orange is the New Black or Weeds or something like that. And I'm looking and I'm like, they can't do this. I know they're not. I'm saying to myself, I know that they're not going to do this. So here we are at the finale, and Jong and Shannon have a fight. And about 30 seconds in, I don't hear what they're saying because I'm yelling at my television. That I know the writers are not going to do this. That I know for a fact that the writers are not going to do this. I know that that this couple that works so well, that we've shipped for a long time, that actually survived the getting together. A lot of television couples, once we get to the getting together, They become stale. They become boring. They actually lose on-screen chemistry. They're written terribly. They're sort of faded in the background while we focus on the other characters because now their arc is done. That's why they keep having them break up and get back together so many times on those shows, because once you actually get them together, a lot of writers have a hard time figuring out how to keep them together. But Kim's Convenience managed to do it. I was invested. They were sitting there watching the shows together. And then they have the fight. Why do they have the fight? Why? No. Come on. This is not that show. This is not that couple. Oh, no. But we get to the finale and they all have a dinner together. All the actual main cast members, the titled cast members. And Shannon comes into the store and Jung comes into the store and they have a discussion. I'm like, okay. They're going to wrap this up. Start right back where they started as a couple. Maybe there'll be an engagement at dinner. They're going to wrap this up nicely. They still have a chance. There's still time. There's no reason not to. They're still going to wrap this up. They're going to do the awkward thing, yada, yada, yada. Shannon went for the district job or whatever, and John's looking for a different opportunity. They'll collide together. They'll do it together, right? The different opportunity, they'll leave Toronto is going to be their happy ending. They'll leave Toronto together is their happy ending. Together they'll leave. Together. And spread their wings and fly little baby birds. Just like Janet's about to with her photography thing, and the Kims will still be in their convenience store, and you're fine with that. That's a fantastic ending. And then they have another fight and talk and discussion, and the writers blew it. They had it. They had opportunity after opportunity to not go in the breakup direction. And in the breakup direction, on the road to destruction that they were on, there were signs to exit along the way. Big, wide, neon, bright shining signs that said, do not go any further. Please exit to your happy ending. Please exit to your happy ending. Please exit out of Toronto to your mutual happy endings together. Whether they get married, engaged, whatever, they're still together in the relationship. They're just taking off out of Toronto together. Why? You had the opportunity to stick the landing. The perfect game was within reach. To borrow an analogy from Dave Chappelle and stretch it to its furthest lengths. You were driving down the lane. No one was around you. Plenty of time on the clock. Driving the lane. And you missed the dunk. You're on not even the 1 yard line. You were at the goal line. And you take a knee at the goal line. Not on it. You didn't cross the plane. At the goal line. No, not even. I'm sorry. Let's stretch that metaphor out. There are the sidelines. You're running towards out of bounds. However, there's no one in front of you, no one on the sides of you, and everyone else on the field is 50 yards behind you. You can break for the goal line to win the game. Perfect season, 18-0, Super Bowl, baby. Or what's the Canadian one? Stampede, whatever, championship, baby. Yet you keep running towards the sidelines. However, you're running towards the sidelines so far away that you're still making yardage. You're still getting towards the goal line. And you can still make it. However, you get to that coffin corner, you get to that little piece, and instead of putting your foot, breaking the plane onto the goal line, you go to this side and go out of bounds at the very end with no time left on the clock. Why? I don't understand why. You knew fans loved Kim Jong and Shannon together. You knew that. They had great chemistry. You knew that too. You're ending the show. You knew that too. You didn't necessarily have to write these obstacles, but you did, and yet still wrote them in a way where they were completely avoidable to breaking them up. They could still get through these obstacles together. You knew that too. And you still didn't do it for them. I don't understand. I don't understand why writers do this. This isn't the first time this has happened. Other shows have done this before. Other shows have made it so that there was a thing that fans want, and instead of giving it to them in the many opportunities that they could have, they decide, nah. I know the fans want it, but I don't want it. Nah. How un-Canadian of you. I thought you guys were supposed to be polite. What's that about? That's like when Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold Steve Austin were in the WWF at the same time and we still didn't get that match. How does that not happen? How do you not do it? How do you just not do it? How do you not do it? Oh my gosh. I was so happy to watch this last season of Kim's Convenience. I was in a brighter mood by why I had a bad day today. A long, frustrating day. And I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back to the house, kick off my shoes, relax my feet, party on down to the Kim's Convenience beat. And I'm going to watch, and I'm going to have a good time. And I know I'm probably going to burn through them because I can't stop. I'm going to keep watching. And I did. And I'm so mad at that ending. That's so disappointing. Oh my gosh. I don't understand. I'm sure Twitter's all abuzz because I'm sure many people have watched it the day it came out, finished it the day. And I don't blame you. I just had other things to do, and I was like, I'm going to sit down and do this. Oh my gosh. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Happy for everybody else in the show. They all wrapped up, you know. Janet's going to start her thing. Kim's are going to keep on with the shop, you know. But man. Oh, come on. That's so whack. That's so whack. After 65 episodes in 5 years. That's so whack. That's such a terrible... You know what that reminds me of? You know what ending that reminds me of? Mad About You. At the end of Mad About You, the original ending of Mad About You, the Buckmans broke up. After all that. And I've recently been rewatching it. I've recently been binging Mad About You. That's such a great show, especially the early seasons. The chemistry is fantastic. And I'm sitting there watching, I'm like, I can't believe they broke them up at the end of the fucking thing. I can't believe it. I think the Wikipedia says that, like, they end up getting back together, but I don't even remember that part. I just remember they broke up. That's stupid. They divorced. Come on. Come on. The new ending went and fixed it. Good. Or Was the new ending, I gotta finish it, because I think the new ending, they kind of encapsulated that in the new, because they did break up for half a second, but they didn't divorce. They just kind of had a big blow up. That's like the Roseanne ending. Oh, the last season was all a dream, and I'm still here in Lanford, and Dan died, and Becky's really with Mark, and what? Stop it! Y'all get goofy at the end. Y'all get really silly and stupid at the end. And it doesn't, and there's no reason to. You have it right there. It's in your hands. Just do the right thing with your property, please. It's right there, and it's in your hands. Just do the right thing with your property, please. Genji Cohen has a real bad problem. Has a really bad problem with series finales. Like, she does them terribly. Terribly. The best thing she did in her series finales was that song, 16 Miles to the Promised Land of Weez. That's the best thing, because they really have a terrible, she has an awful, what is with writers and their finales and not doing them right? I think that one of the best series finales of recent times was Bill Lawrence's Scrubs for season 8, and then he fucks around and makes it season 9. Which is a whole nother can of worms. They did season 9 wrong. Not that they shouldn't have done it. They could have done it. They just did it wrong. They should have had Sunny Day instead of that blonde chick. And I still, for the life of me, don't... Whole nother rant. Anyway, Kim's Convenience. Thanks for the 65 episodes and the years, but jeez, man. Jeez. This was probably up at this... There aren't many shows that I could rewatch over and over and not run into those episodes that I don't want to watch. There are a couple of episodes of different shows like that. West Wing has like 2 in particular that I hate watching. Specifically, the first one is the Miss Landingham. I hate that Miss Landingham episode. I hate it. I'll skip it. Golden Girls. Brother, can you spare a coat? No, never. I'll never watch that one. Never. Nope. The Alzheimer's episode? Skip. The Alvin episode? No, I won't watch it. Empty Nest? I won't watch it. Kim's Convenience didn't have those. Until now. That's a shame. Bloody hell. Wait a minute. So, I wrap up doing this video on Kim's Convenience, and then I go to Twitter to look and kind of get a sneak preview of what people are talking about. I literally just finished wrapping it up. And so the way I usually do a lot of these videos is it's an immediate reaction. It's an instant reaction. And this one I wasn't even planning. I had no plans. I just finished it and I was like, I'm coming up here and I'm doing this. And this one I was like, I just kind of want to get an immediate reaction while it's loading onto the computer or whatever. And man, see, I didn't even know about Simu Lu's, Jung's message about the end of the series or about Shannon getting a spinoff. First off, why do a spinoff? What's the point of it? Why do a spinoff? Apparently, the rest of the cast thought they would do more seasons, including Simu, who went off to Hollywood to do movies and whatnots, and they were all shocked that I didn't even know about how I just heard it got canceled. I don't know how or why or whatever. I just thought they had decided 5 seasons is enough, which is, that's a great run. They didn't make it to 100, but 5 seasons is enough to wrap it up, and that's the end. That's just a tidy little bow on the series. And the way it ended, it was a tiny little bow on the series. I didn't know about all this other stuff, so that puts it into perspective. They broke Jung and Shannon up for her to get a spinoff? Oh, man. That's why? I mean, I got a crush on Miss Power since I first saw her on the show. And, in the video I just said, I said she was arguably the most adorable person on television. She's great in that role, and I'm sure she's good in other roles. I obviously haven't really seen her or been exposed to her in other roles. I don't know if there's many more us Americans really have easy access to. But I don't know how I feel about that. And not for the reasons that other people have. Oh, on this all-Asian show, the white girl is the one that got the spinoff. Okay. But it ruins... Like, I still hold to the thoughts I had a little bit earlier. They had the chance for the great ending, and they missed the dunk. They went so far out of bounds. And maybe it fits even more fittingly into it, because they went out of, like, it was really out of bounds for them to do that, because their sights are on a spinoff? I don't know that anybody needs a spinoff right now. Not of them, or not of Shannon. I mean, I don't necessarily know that I would want a spinoff. I like the way the show was contained within itself. Like, none of the characters seem spinoff worthy. You know what I mean? It feels almost like they ended The Office at season 5 just because somebody got a bug up their ass for that Dwight spinoff that never happened. Like, wait, so you're gonna end it early when it's really popular, off the success, etc., for this spinoff nobody asked for, and I don't know if they even really want. Even fans of the show? Like, I'm a fan of the show, and I'm a fan of the actress. She is cute as all hell, and I almost want to start speaking with a Canadian. And like, I'm almost ready to risk it all and go to the Great White, to risk it all. If you know what I'm talking about, huh? See, I can do it. Oh. Ugh. Oh no. Conflicting feelings. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I can't believe y'all did that. Party people, tell me how right I am, because I'm always right. Particularly about this one. Tell me how correct I am about how Kim's Convenience missed that finale down there in the comment section. I need you to like, I need you to share. Subscribe is great too, but I need you to like, I need you to share. I have a podcast with my homeboy Trey. Comes out every single Thursday. It's called the How Do We Even Get Here podcast. We're on 13 different audio platforms. All you have to do is look up How Do We Even Get Here, or go down there in the description and follow the links. We're also on YouTube. Again, in the links, but tinyurl.com/getHereTube is the direct link to our YouTube. And in the meantime, in between time, to the folks over at Kim's Convenience, okay, see you.
I'm a nice guy, I'm a nice place, with a nice smile on my nice face. Turn your back and I'm making sure my night's straight. And when you're out of town, I'll be making sure your wife's straight.